Did you know that George Lopez has a relatively new show called Lopez vs. Lopez? This series is a sitcom on NBC and Netflix about George Lopez moving in with his real-life daughter Mayan because his moving company went bankrupt. However, George hasn't seen his daughter in years because his wife and him split up, and now he wants to build a better relationship with her. In the show, Mayan has a son, which isn't her real-life son by the way, and a loving but goofy boyfriend. Also, the show is sort of inspired by real-life events surrounding George and his daughter Mayan, and how they were really estranged in real life because of George and his wife splitting up. Thankfully, George and Mayan just started building a closer relationship when they reunited during the COVID pandemic. Another thing that is real in this show is the TikTok in the intro was actually created by Mayan in real life. However, they recreated it for the show.
Is it true that this show was based on one of your TikToks?
It is. Almost 2 years ago to the day, someone made a TikTok about some like family trials and tribulations. Oh, there it is. And so I made one. I was like, well, we'll get people's attention. It's not really out of my character, but let me just twerk upside down on a wall. And I'm a comedian. I'll go for the joke. And our show creator, Debbie Wolf, saw that, and as we do, procrastinating, watching TikTok, and saying this is a show, and we never thought to work.
I think the minute you see your daughter upside down twerking, the issue is very serious.
Let me just say, Mayan Lopez is not a great actress. However, she doesn't do much acting in the first place. Also, George Lopez acts more like himself in this show compared to his other sitcom. Throughout the series, we see him drinking and smoking weed a lot, and in real life, George has struggled with alcoholism. They even played off that idea in an episode where Mayan told George she wants him to stop drinking. Regardless, he still has the funniest lines out of everyone in the show. His daughter Mayan is portrayed as a young mother who just wants to do what's best for her boyfriend and son, while also building a relationship with her father. Mayan's boyfriend Quentin is, like I said, goofy, but he is also a great dad. However, he is always trying to get George's approval because George doesn't like him. Nevertheless, George and Quentin do start growing closer to each other, and they even had a heartwarming episode together where George actually accepted him as family. In the show, George has a friend named Oscar who is basically just a stoner version of Ernie. Speaking of Ernie, the cast of George Lopez's first sitcom actually made an appearance in the episode Lopez vs. Christmas. Lastly, I gotta talk about George's ex-wife in the show. I don't like her. She isn't the best mom to Mayan. She's very manipulative and gaslights her daughter. Also, she doesn't seem to want to change, unlike George's character. Just an FYI, the actress isn't his real ex-wife. I will say Lopez vs. Lopez is pretty funny. There are a lot of heartfelt moments, along with characters growing and learning lessons. Also, as always, lots of jokes relating to Mexican culture. I'd also just like to add in that Bruce Helford is a producer and writer for Lopez vs. Lopez, along with being a creator, writer, and producer for George Lopez's first show we all know and love. This show isn't bad, but it's not as good as his first sitcom. If I could give this show a rating out of 10, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I thought this show was pretty good. If you like George Lopez and his comedy, I think you will like this as well. If you like George Lopez, I suggest going and watching the show on Netflix. This show did get a second season, which is coming out this year in 2024. Thank you for making it to the end of my video. If you are not yet subscribed, please do, and if you like this video, please leave a like.